May I start here? Rick.
It should be ready now, I believe.
Okay, going to put a disclaimer.
Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GANs processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties.
I started an interpretation, Raphael, and I think we lost the audio because of that on one of your interpreters. Raphael, I think we need to change one of our settings here. You're in as two interpreters because I started the interpretation. Wondering if I should stop the interpretation or.
I think you better stop the interpretation.
Yeah, I'll try that.
The interpretation here because I was with two accounts here, so I'm just with one.
Yeah, I ended the interpretation. I didn't hear quite what you said there about the account.
So if you can put me in the interpretation now, because I was with two accounts here, now I'm just with one.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we don't have the voice. We don't have the voice of the disclaimer or the video you put on.
Oh, so I need to put again the disclaimer, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, but
Right.
the voice is not the voice. There is no voice on it. We just see the picture.
Yes, so the disclaimer was without voice for you. So
Halfway it stopped.
Yeah, I think it was because you had both as interpreter, both your IDs were as interpreter. If you had one that was not interpreter, then that would work.
So I'll start again the disclaimer here. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
So I'll start the interpretation then as well.
Yep.
But if you start interpretation, my sound will go for you. That's my doubt here, because I think it's better you don't start interpretation. Just put when we finish the cycle of creation video, right?
Yeah. Rick,
better
stop
this
the
way.
interpretation till after the cycle of life.
Is that okay, Rick?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, start again.
Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GANs processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
We're not seeing any video yet. Oh, there we are. Thanks.
Der Kreislauf der Schöpfung. Jedes Ende ist ein Neubeginn.
The process of understanding is very simple. The process is, as I explained last time, I explained more in detail. We come, we are created out of the rays within the center of the universe.
Wir wurden innerhalb der Strahlen des Zentrums.
In interaction and reduction in strength and division by the strength in certain strength fields, in collection of the totality of the expansion of the universe, some energies, some dynamic fields have come together. Over billions of years, these fields lead to the creation of what we call the sun. Where the plasma gathers together. The same process repeats again because the sun is the same as the energy center of the universe. Now, the heavier, the larger amount of the energy which is collected in this span of the universe, called the sun, that irradiates out, does the same thing again. Radiates its fields out, and in interaction with the itself, with the fields of itself, leads to creation of planet. In that process of the creation of planet, the same process happens again. in the interaction of the fields of the earth with its environment and cooling and exchange with the strength of the other things in the environment of the space of the solar system leads to creation of man, cell, matter state. And that itself, in coming together and slowing down in certain ways, as we call, leads to another sun. We call the soul of the man. This is the truth about the life and creation of the man. But if the soul of the man can understand and absorb and be correct with his conduct, he can become the strength of the fields and carry the strength of the field of the planet which came to this creation. And if the soul can understand with the same process, can interact, can be correct, can absorb with itself the totality of the strength of what it needs, it shall become the sun. And then the same soul has the energy that it can absorb within the solar system, within the galaxy, shall become the center of the universe. Earth, we call it the rain, come from and goes back to. The solar system, we call it planetary system. We come from the rays, we become the planet, and we go back to the mother. The same thing happens with the galaxies, with the solar systems, which they get absorbed back in and they chewed up back into the universe. The life process of existence in the universe is the same. It doesn't matter what exchange and what extent. So, what is the man fighting for? Why do we fight for something which has come from the point of the creation, and in the process it goes back to the creation? The soul of the man, as the energy of the earth, gives the face of the man, the face of the earth, and that process is the same for the soul of the man. Our soul, in reduction in strength, in interaction with the emotion of the field of the environment, leads to manifestation of the existence of the man. But once it's completed, does it need the face? Or can it be and becomes free from it, what we call the soul of the man, to be free and detached from its existence? Our soul is part of the process of the creation. The key to one question for man shall be in the future to be answered. As we saw the sun became the earth, and as we saw the earth became man's soul, what will be the destiny of the soul of the man now becomes free at the point of departure from its cavity? Would it become the sun for creation of another life, or many lives, or correction of lives? This shall be, and this is how it happens. when you create a soul which is not correct, which is misconduct by itself, cannot give, you lead to the creation of this next cycle of creation, which has started the wrong way, the wrong strength. This is one thing the man has never understood. You become the creator of another universe, another cycle. And this is what you have to judge within the structure of the soul of the man. What would I like that cycle to be? In the physical life, we create children. In the dimension of the life of the soul of the man, what that man, what that soul will create. If man has thought up to now, that's it, my end, my point, when I die is finished, there's as much fallacy that when the sun is destroyed in any shape or form, there shall be nothing left. But we know the part of the sun becomes part of the galaxy and becomes part of the new life. So shall be the soul of the man. The judgment of the man has to be according to what he sees the future his soul can conduct to be. The day of judgment is for the man, not in front of the Creator. That what my soul judges to be and what shall create. Man never understood and shall never understand till can solve this dilemma within itself. The reality is very, very, very real. And that is, as we've seen, the energy of the galaxy become the sun, the energy of the sun has become the earth, and the energy of the earth has become the soul of the man. So shall be the soul of the man, which is the energy itself, another cycle of life. How can you change when you don't understand? How can you change the process of understanding if you do not understand the process of the creation? Do we need to extend the understanding of the man that what is the future he brings? We care about our children, what education they get, what they wear, how happy they'll be, where they sleep. Now the man has to be careful and consider what life shall my soul create, because those are the children of your soul. As we see, the rays of the sun has become a planet and 7 billion children of it. 7 billion unlimited, which is growing. So the soul of the man will go through the same process. How many billions and subdivisions and sub-matter state of the physicality of the man your soul shall create? Would it be the soul of wars and conflict and ever killing? Or would it be the soul of this, let's say, solar system, which is peaceful? This is the truth and the reality of the soul of the man. First of all, as I said many times recently, we never understood that the soul of the man is within the structure of the man. And now that we understood, we understand on departure from the physicality of the man, the same process will carry on as it did for a star, a planet, and the soul of the man becomes another energy source, a higher order, which itself leads to the creation. It becomes the star, it becomes the center of the new cycle of creation. This is what the human race has to understand. The cycle actually starts at the point of death and not finishes at the point of death. In so many ways, if one understands, is as the dust, specks of dust came together to make the Earth in the solar system, so has the specks of the atoms has come to be the creator of the man. And the essence of the creation of the specks of dust on the solar system has led to the creation of the man. So shall be the fields from the soul of the man to lead to creation of another cycle of life. What kind of life man would like to have to be created by the soul? This is the day of judgment. This is what man never understood. Now you have to understand. You have no choice. Up to today you were not aware of it. From today you are aware of it. You are responsible for it. Your conduct has to be to elevate your soul. That in elevating the soul, what you become the creator of stands correct in the conduct of the citizens. We don't give any time. This is the truth about it. As you've seen, the process does not stop with one sun. The cycle carries on. It's very interesting in how humanity now knows in fact to handle the fact. It'll take decades for man to understand, and then you understand those who become the tools of war, the tools of conflict. They have nothing to start with. They have to become the dust in the solar systems of the others till the day they learn more. As they cannot create a new cycle through their own soul. This is the elevation of the soul of the man. To be part of the creation of a beautiful life for the next cycle. When you don't have it, you have to become another cell in the body of the structure of the figure for you to be just there that you can done when you could have been the soul of the man. They say, do not create fear. I give you the point of love for creation. If you cared about your children on this planet to have the best, your true children come out of your own soul in the coming time. How would you like to educate them? How would you like to be when you are in conflict with yourself and the cause of so much mayhem? This is the truth. And the man will take a long time to understand, as now that we understand the soul of the man is an operator for the creation of the future extent of the life of the man. Whatever is gathered by the soul at the end becomes his point of reference of his own creation of his own dimension. But the strangest thing is, what he creates from his soul shall become the creator of the other souls. This is the beauty about the creation, and one understands it, understands no limitation.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 565th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 21st, 2024. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name's Rick Crammond, and I'll be your host today. Once again, in this continuous series of workshops that's been ongoing for over 10 years now, over 11 years, and still going strong and still going with Mr. Mehran Keshe as our main presenter here, and I believe he's ready to start presenting. Hello, Mr. Keshe, are you there?
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation, the Spaceship Institute. We welcome you back, as usual. And today, I have to inform you as knowledge seekers that in past few minutes, we have been informed and confirmed that one of our beloved knowledge seekers, John Bliven, passed away. He's been one of the solid supporters of the Keshe Foundation. Met him about 10 years ago when he attended as a student in the first group of knowledge seekers in South of Italy with us in training. Sitting in the corner, introducing himself, not knowing that he was a man from the space technology and American structure, not knowing he was geared up with the space programs before, very humble. He sat in the back, next like everybody else, and he listened. And he was supposed to be there for 2 or 3 days. He said, no, I want to stay for the rest of the session, which was a 3-month session. And then on, it became the rest of what we all know. He became part of the Keshe Foundation, and he's the CEO of the Mark Ray, and many, many other things. I spoke with him about 10 days ago, and he said he wants to sleep. He can't keep awake. I asked him, how do you feel? As we know, he battled with cancer. And we did everything possible. The doctors could not find the source of the whole problem, but he became weak in the past 2 months when they started chemotherapy. It's a long story with us, with his work. And well, the last word he said to me, he says, they can't find any cancer. And I said to him, why did you do the chemotherapy? It was because of other complications which he had, the doctor suggested. He devoted his life to the foundation. And he worked relentlessly to open the frontiers of space. And he always said to me, this is the only way we're going to go to space. He came from a background of working as an engineer in a space technology in the United States for 20, 30 years. Many tests we done with him, many work we did with him, never came out, will never come out. It's highly classified for our work.
And he was the man who set everything up to see it through. A lot of knowledge was shared with him, and there was no limitation in sharing knowledge with John. It was part of the inner structure. And even to the last months, he still did a lot of trials, a lot of things. This is one of the last pictures I have of him, where he could transmute. He is the first person ever transmuted in Keshe Foundation. The very first time I asked him, John, I think we are ready to go. He said, I have to be the first one. I have to test. We sent him the system to Arizona, and we're still in the basement of the, what we call Linz Exhibition Center. I said to him, I'll walk around, you tell me, what do you see? He came to Linz twice, so he knew the environment. He said, you walk around and I'll tell you where you are. Even when he came to Linz, we used to have a back room in the office where I set up systems for him because we did a lot of tests. He never knew where I was in the building. He tells me where I'm touching, what I see, what's in front of me. And as I walked, he could tell me I'm standing by which system and how he feels about it. I did this with John 2 or 3 times. He said, I'm with you, but I can't physically manifest myself. There is something I cannot do. I can't go through to the transmission, to transfer, to transmute. But it was amazing how he could give me detailed information of which room, which machine, which area I was in, and nothing is spoken. And even the scenery of the exhibition center, in the last conversation with him was changed, so it wasn't there that he knew the picture of. He worked relentlessly with us. He helped us relentlessly in running the operation of the Keshe Foundation, especially in America and with Mark Ray. It's a great loss to us and to the foundation and to the knowledge seekers. He was there to see the change. He was a visionary. And everything was go. And as you remember, many videos we used to have from him live years ago. He set up the first plasma field environment. He measured the fields outside the buildings of the test labs. He did everything. And he was like a father to everyone in the Keshe Foundation whenever they needed him. It'll take us a long time to recover from this loss. He became a friend. He became a consul. He became an advisor in operation of the Keshe Foundation in international levels. And there was not a day, more or less, on a regular basis, where I will not talk with him, expanding the testing, everything possible. He said, I have the opportunity to give the dimension to. And when I explained to him the first time that I have achieved left in a different way, he said, I knew you know how to do it. He understood the science of space technology. And I'm sure where he is, his soul has found the dimension and direction of his way to support the human race in his own way. I hope he finds his peaceful place where he can expand and elevate. In this picture, what you see, he was sending me. Later on, there is a seat where he sat in the chair, and he says, I cannot see myself. I cannot feel my legs. I'm not here, but I know I'm here. And everything for him was an adventure to bring him forward, the space travel. I give my condolences to his daughter and the grandchildren who they have supported us, and to the knowledge seekers around the world. He could not stay silent. He was full of joy. He was like a teenager, finding new toy to do things. I wish, and I give from my soul, for his to find his best place in the universe, the creation of the Creator that can help the others to elevate. We usually give a minute of silence for those of us who pass. With him, there was no silence. And this today teaching is very much in the line of where it could be. I hope we all remember him with joy. And the videos we used to see him, and the way he used to jump between the backgrounds. Thank you very much. Today's teaching comes from the essence of where, in a way, direction of connection of the links of the soul of the man, the energy of the fields of the existence of the man comes from, and where he goes to. In the past 2 or 3 weeks teaching, Rick, would you like to change this screen, please?
Yes, will do.
It's not easy to teach while he's there. In the past 2 or 3 weeks, as I explained, we started a new path of teaching. We know how to fly across this planet. We have learned every trick of it. We saw in the past few days how man showed the most advanced technology in launching a rocket, carrying a satellite on board, and again, as usual, could not complete the task by literally landing the part they wanted to do. We saw how Musk tried to land the jet half back on the launch pad, and he still landed in the water. But the rocket took its course, delivering the Indian satellite, and somewhere the rest of the process. When I was watching the launch, it brought back a lot of understanding of what present teaching and technology in Keshe Foundation is, and what man in scientific dimension and edge of science would like to do. When I watched that the rocket went up and the part which was supposed to come back to the base and do a vertical attachment to the anchor did not function, and as usual Americans never call it a failure, but in fact failed because it landed in the ocean. It brought me back a very funny thing. We want to send your soul, you want to transmute, and what happened if you misfire, as I say, take a different field of strength and do not land back on the dock where you fired from, and you land somewhere else. But your destination, point of destination, is already chosen. You will be that satellite, you find your position in the orbit of where you should be, somewhere in the universe. But in the process of transmutation, you land not back in the physicality of the body, but somewhere else. What do you do? How do we connect? How do we bring it back to where it should be? Would we end up in another body? Would we end up in another dimension while we are still in part in another position? Would we misfire like Musk and still put a brave face that we succeeded? In fact, when I watched the launch, it was one of the biggest failures of the space technology, because we already know since 1960s how to launch a rocket and put satellites in orbit. Yuri Gagarin went up and came back. The advancement was to bring it back into its dock. And with the space technology of today, failure is there again and again. We've seen it many times. They've tried, succeeded once. Can we fail with a plasma space technology? Do we have a rocket in our brain which sends our soul across the universe and then cannot bring it back? In the Keshe Foundation, in the coming weeks, we will test something very special as the process of the production and the evolution in science and technology brings us, where we create the first plasma targeting what we call beam, as like a laser beam of a plasma in a given direction, where it, as I was talking when of knowledge seekers, we talk about the wormhole, but we create a condition of the plasma where, for example, we can aim it at moon and we transmute across this tunnel, this plasma tunnel, across and back, where we can directionalize more the transmutation, because it's a field that's the strength of the dimension. It means we can land all of you in a given position on the moon through dimension of the soul. Building this system will be amazing when the time is completed. It will bring a new dimension in the world of plasma technology, where now we try to transfer a beam of light. Now we transfer the whole structure of the man within a plasma beam. We have all the technology. Our knowledge seekers have to evolve in the science of understanding, where, for example, when you target to go to Mars, you don't land anywhere else, but you don't need no rocket. You transmute through the energy channels of the plasma which is made of you. This system will not be bigger than a shoebox. It is not a dream, is the accumulation of the knowledge systems and technologies which we have developed coming down to this point. To understand the principle behind this science, behind this knowledge, we go back to the structure, to understanding, and in the expansion of the science of the transmutation and transportation. In the dimension and in misleading information and teachings of the past science has brought us one of the most fundamental, what I call misguided knowledge about the world of creation. And because we have been misguided, we've been told the wrong thing, we have accepted this fallacy. Maybe I can put it this way. Light is a part of the structure of the magnetic field. And they tell us you cannot bend it. And there are many research done to see that when the light comes near, like a supernova and the rest, it bends slightly over. This is a fallacy of the science. This could be correct if there was no magnetic field in the environment of the beam. But the universe is full of magnetic fields. And If you see this, you understood this technology of what we've been led to believe, then you should have known from the first teachings of the Keshe Foundation, we are contradicting the present knowledge. And I explain to you why. The universe is made of magnetic fields. And if you see my drawings for past decades and decades, I show the plasma in this shape. Because that's how it is. This is how the magnetic field of the Earth does not go directly out straight, but is in a spin. Because it spins, the system is dynamic. So one of the biggest things for mankind now to change in understanding of the process of the magnetic field, if light is made of magnetic fields, it cannot bend, how come the universe works on the twist like this? Or the other question which I can put to the world of science is, which segment of this field you consider to be going on a straight line, and how long it has to be that it shows that the light travels on a straight line. Then the plasma physics contradicts the physics of today. Then all of things has to be reassessed by the world of science. Then we have to redefine, is the light or whatever travels on a straight line applicable only to the light in a matter state in a given condition? I explained to you where the controversy and the problem for the present world of science will come. It's very easy. And the easiest part is, if we believe and accept the principle of the light, for example, from a star to us is a direct line, do we see only matter strength of the fields of that star to us on a straight line? What happened to the rest of it? On the plasma lens spectrum, magnetic field strength. Then the question comes, do we, what we see as the light from a star, is the true straight line, or do we actually see as part of the magnetic field spectrum of the horizon, of the plasmatic field, magnetic field spectrum? Then this puts a big question mark in the whole science of physics which a man has made, and this is one of the problems. Man cannot travel the depth of the universe, and he has to rely on the jets. He has to rely on nuclear fuel, because still deals with the matter state. Do we, in our space technology to come, create two dimensions of the travel? In a matter state, straight line, or in a plasma state, in a different line? And even though it might be the longest, but it's the shortest in the time, because this will take you 100,000 light years. This takes you 1 millisecond. These are what now we have to consider. These, why, in a way, showed even the most stupid scientist in the world, a fake scientist, came out with energy equal to mc squared. Because he knew there are so many factors in between here, and he made them all assumptions. Because this guy does not exist in the world of the creation, is a man-made measure of his own vision of understanding and observation, does not apply to the work of the universe. You have to realize Einstein was made to be a peer reviewer, and in that peer review he was cheating and stealing from a lot of people, and in those things he found out he has to make a lot of assumptions, because what these patterns were coming in showing him he was wrong in all his assumptions from the beginning. And this is where the world of science went wrong and has gone wrong, and he found a place to confirm his stupidity. If you understand what is here, and simply now you understand that C cannot be because it have different magnetic field spectrum as a plasma, this equation does not exist. Cannot work in the present form, and the way has blocked the world of science to move on. As I said very recently, science of plasma has to be left with those who understand the world of creation, not those who are blocks in the science of man. If you understand what's on the screen, its implication, its application, then you understand for the soul of the man to travel the span of the universe should not take that long, because the soul of the man works in this parameter and not in this parameter. In a way, according to the desire, the emotion of the field of the man, we choose which spectrum of the field, the strength we travel with. And man has chosen the physical matter spectrum, which is the downfall of his understanding of the rest of the creation. In the coming weeks, I'll explain to you in a very clear way how you can travel to any destination in the universe, not on a straight line. The straight line in the world of creation of the plasma is the longest time. Because you have to fit it into the given spectrum field strength. And there is always one much higher, which that higher speed gives you the dimension of the field transfer through plasmatic magnetic field. This is how inertia is created. This is how gravity is created. And this is how men have not understood the totality of the science of the creation. If this wasn't so, we would have stuck to the creator and there would have been never ever a universe. And the fields of the creator does not emit on a straight line. Its diversity and rotation creates a dimension of the interaction of the fields with themselves and itself, as I have shown in the back page of the book number 3, that leads to the creation of the creator. Scientifically, we never understood the totality. And this is why we made all these assumptions. This is why we created so much problem in the world of science. By misinterpretation, by those who were misguided themselves, and we came to believe in them. Even me as a teacher, you have to question the teaching. And to what extent you understand it is the limitation of your comprehension of your own creation. A man who works without questioning is as good as a dead man. Challenges of knowledge, challenges of understanding the science of creation come from questioning the creation itself. Then, in finding the solution, you enlighten the soul of the man and you extend the knowledge of the creation. It's your responsibility to understand the true meaning, and it's not the responsibility of others to teach you. Because then your limitation becomes their limitation. When you meditate, what do you meditate for? When you align the energy fields of the body of the man, is to elevate the soul of the man. That's the purpose of meditation. Meditation is science, meditation is understanding the world of creation, not a free zone that I'm free and I feel nothing. Access to the world knowledge, to the universal knowledge, to understand the truth about the science of the creation. The minute you claim you understood all, is the minute is the point of demise. You got to understand how much we've been misguided by those who were those there to deliberately to misguide us. If you understand a simple term of what we saw in the world of science, which has become a norm, and we accepted this stupidity, and they tell us the light travels on a straight line, and we accepted it, then this gives you a very big question. The same as what I explained months ago, that 4.5 billion is not the age of the universe. The universe is billions of years more. And then we found out, they say it could be 13 billion years within a few months after what we explained. And it's even bigger. But let me explain to you the age of the universe. If the theory of MC squared is correct, and understanding that they tell us that you cannot bend the light cannot bend, and they tell us light travels on a straight line. If the horizon of the man on Earth is 17 kilometers, due to the curvature, what is the size of this universe if the curvature of the light tells us travels on a straight line across the universe, that we see the light of another star to be in that point? If you haven't understood the question, I'll put it to you this way. How much bigger this universe is if the light coming from the other point of universe travels on a straight line, which is a small part of the fraction of this curvature. If you want to understand the actual work of the universe in a very simple way, I'm sure all of you have seen a Catherine firework, where they burn and it creates a dynamic, rotating firework going on the spin in the center. What happened to you and what happened to the light is exactly what you see in that spin. Cannot be on a straight line. You see it only on a straight line according to the horizon of your observation, not the horizon of the universe. Simply, the curvature of the Earth is not 17 kilometers or 17 miles, depends how and who wants to explain what. Then you understand, for man to travel to another point from the point of transmutation, straight line doesn't exist. It depends on the strength of the soul of the man. It depends on the strength of the purity of the service the man has gathered within the structure of his life, in what strength field he will travel in. Has he created a position to come closer, or has he created the condition to go further? The holy books, this is heaven, and the other side is hell. Then you come to understand the dimension of the plasma fields of the universe is limitless, and it's only limited by the understanding, comprehension of the world of the creation of the man himself alone, and not by his educators. And if you understood that the world of the man moves in the dimension of the unicos as the universe man is used to, which is this spin, which part of it is in a bigger spin of the unicos. Where anyone, any soul, in any dimension, which even here could be the dimension of the soul of the man, can travel to the soul of the creator, and not the soul of the universe, which man thought is created out of. We have a beautiful saying in Farsi. It says, my servant had a servant, and the servant had a servant, and the servant of the servant had a servant. And we are one of those last servants. And maybe there is more life after us, which become the servant to serve us, to be servant of the servant. These, you have to understand, to open your eyes, that in a coming up teaching, understand how you travel in a straight line to the soul of the creator, and in a dimension of the soul of the plasma of the man, you travel in what I call dimension of the field strength and where and how you decide to be. Understanding the process of this line of the expansion of the soul of the creator needs itself a feedback line that creator knows how much is expanded to. We call it gravity. Gravitational field forces in the plasma is different than the gravitational field forces in the matter direction we call inertia. And the plasma of the creator, gravitational field forces, is at a point that is so low that it attracts everything into it. It's a black hole of the creation and not the black hole of the universe, where the black hole of our universe and within our universe falls within that black, where itself becomes the essence of the creation of the universe. The knowledge of the creation is of the universe and creation is extensive. It's for man to unravel the truth about his own creation. And once you understand this, you start the step how to travel in the dimensions of the creation. In a way, if you understood, if I explained clearly last time, this past 2 weeks teaching, this line is your hydrogen, and this line is your connection to carbon. And the interaction of the field of the carbon creates what we call CEST, or conformation of existence of the universe. This universe can be your physicality, or this universe can be the unique cause of the creation, depending on your comprehension of the understanding of the creator. One day, in the teachings to come, I will explain in more and more detail that you understand. In the past 2 or 3 weeks, we're trying to give you a map, a bigger understanding of the bigger picture. That when it comes to nitty-gritties and to detailed understanding of the knowledge, you can see how you fit, where you fit. Then the things that has no ambiguity. How come I can go to the creator direct, but I still travel the span of the universe and create a dimension of existence of the conformation? Very few, even they all have access, will ever see this light. A direct line to the world of creation of the creator of it. And the rest are according to the strength of the fields they gather, are in the passage of different field strength of the dimension of the expansion of the unicos, the universe, and fields of the creation. The knowledge of man has to be complete in its totality, that man can understand the process of the creation. And this can be your soul, this can be your physicality, this can be the dimension of totality of man understanding of his own creation. In so many words, man needs to enter the world of creation. Man needs to understand his own world of creation. Man needs to complete his dimension of creation by understanding of his own creation and nothing else. The true process, the true structure, the true science of the creation, and not to befit to his understanding. Always stay open to understand more, but never put a line, this is all. according to what you understood. Because once you draw the line, you become prejudiced to the line you draw, and your knowledge and your extent of understanding further knowledge stops. We go for a break and we come back. But listen to the last 2 or 3 teachings 2 or 3 times together. And in the teachings to come, then many of you who want to go through transmutation and transportation will understand, see a bigger picture, and you don't land like Mr. Musk in the sea and still claim it to be a success. You still managed to launch a satellite, which we did 60 years ago, because we have not completed the understanding of the return. In the process of the creation, man has to understand the emotion. And if you don't understand the game of the emotion, you're that rocket which landed in the sea and you still claim success, because you're still stuck with a matter state understanding of the energy. We go for a break and we come back and try to answer any question.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you use your system to go for a break?
My internet cut out at that very moment when I was about to switch over. But yeah, I think I can do that. So let me see if I can share properly here.
Yeah, you've taken over.
There.
Yes.
Here we go. Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much for another teaching here in the 565th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 21st, 2024. And as Mr. Keshe mentioned, we'll take a short break here and be back with the second half where our attendees will have the opportunity to put up their virtual hands, and we can allow you to open your microphone and ask a question of Mr. Keshe. Okay, and otherwise you can also post questions in the Zoom Q&A or in the Zoom chat, and we can also pick up on those to address as well. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes.
Water is the foundation of our life. It is part of every living creature. Pure water gives you the energy of nature. Now, you can have this energy in your home. The Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer is designed for your daily well-being. It increases the pH of the water so your body can absorb more oxygen and stay in its natural condition during the day. Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer. Be pure like the water.
The revolutionary new Flight Enhancement Spaceship unit is due to be launched in June 2022, and in the same year is expected to fly passengers into space, to the moon and beyond for a day or even several days at a time. There is no need for the Flight Enhancement Spaceship unit to carry food or medicine, as it is equipped with the latest space technology for transportation, transmutation and deep space operation. This extraordinary breakthrough technology ushers in a new era of travel without the need of fuel, food or medicine, even during the longest excursions into deep space. Each spaceship unit has a 4-passenger capacity for long or short duration flights and has the capability to travel between cities on Earth in a matter of seconds to minutes, depending on the distance and speed. This ability to traverse massive distance in such incredibly short time is not just a breakthrough for human transport, it also completely revolutionizes the transportation of goods and cargo and will rapidly overcome the need for one of our most polluting practices, namely marine shipping, as it finally breaks us free not only from the combustion of heavy diesel, but from the combustion of any fuel for propulsion in the future. The Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a new paradigm in space travel, space medicine, and space technology.
Okay, here we are back again at the 565th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And because it's the second half, as I mentioned, we will have an opportunity for questions, but generally Mr. Keshe has a thing or two he would like to say first to kind of warm things up here. So please go ahead if that's true, Mr. Keshe.
Always true. Thank you very much. We are in the process, in a cycle of understanding the totality of the work and how things take shape in around us. And we run many trials. You knowledge seekers support us, and that has brought us a lot of what I call new research, new developments, new understanding, new systems, and we seem gradually, by trial and error and a lot of other things, we find a solution. The way, for example, we sorted out, we understood the process of the corona, we produced gases for it, and we've seen many successes with it. Then we saw the process understanding more in the past with Fukushima and other things which the Keshe Foundation's knowledge seekers we got involved in and we have worked with. One of the main concerns for me for past time has been the creation of the plastics and how plastics have become parts of and how they connect to and affect our lives. In the researches which are going on, and we understand more and more, is without fail, all of us are involved in this mesh of what we call plastic. According to the latest research in scientific papers, even our brain of all of us, on average, without failure, due to microplastics, which the packaging we use, the conversion of the air we breathe in conjunction with the petroleum, in clothing we wear, has embedded even in our brain 0.05% plastic. We consider that part of this plastic structure can be cause of new diseases, can be cause of new cancers, can be cause of all sorts. Is what the world of science today considers. Plastic is in your skin, microplastic is in your heart, microplastic is in body of the fish, in the meat you eat. It's become part of us, and we produce hundreds of thousands of tons of it every year. What has become important to us, and I've done a lot of research in the background with it, going back to the processes we done before. What does this microplastic does to us? We have to understand it has a structure. It works not in a matter state, but due to the conversion of inertia shows itself as a matter state. And what happens if we develop the structure that regularly we can remove this from our body? Would this reduce many diseases that which we suffer from today, which we didn't have before? Would we go back into a structure that would be, in a way, less chances of other diseases, less chance of absorbing other energies to become diseases? Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, everything else which somehow connected to our brain due to accumulation of this plastic energy is the cause of, the creator of. Infertility, premature birth, different kind of cancers. Are these connected by any chance to what the cause of, the creator of this plasma, of what we call microplastics? Many of you use it on a daily basis. You call it a Teflon. Many of you absorb it in your body. You chop your meat, your vegetable on a plastic board. Many of you wear as clothes, as polymers. Many of you every day use it to carry your food in. You put it in the microwave as a plastic container. Many of you breathe it as you drive, you breathe the air of this planet. It has become parts of us which we cannot separate from it. Many of you, you go shopping to bring food to nourish yourself. The plastic carrier bag you carry with the heat and the rubbing is feeding nanoplastic particles into your skin and your body. In our body, like the oceans, we have plastic, what we call islands in the oceans of today, has and must find a place to deposit this, because it cannot digest it, because it has a combination of the amino acid of the man. It looks like energy. I keep it till I use it one day. Liver, kidney, brain are the storage places. These are the islands in the ocean where we see all these plastic containers. Our body has created such a thing because it has a CH bond, which is part of the amino acid of the body of the man. And it deposits it that I might use it somewhere because it's got a carbon hydrogen. It looks like sugar, it looks like carbohydrates, and I keep it. This is how our body is depositing these nanoplastics. It's fooled to see it as energy, deposits it for when it uses it, might need it. Liver is full, does not have a combination for this storage. I find a place for it. Liver, brain, and the rest of it. This is how we see microplastic in our structure. Deposition by the habit of storing, and storing it in a very good way that one day I might need it. Now we have to come up with a solution, or try to find a solution to remove this continuously from the body of the man. In the test before, we have shown we could transfer calcium out of the body, we could transfer nanostructure out of the body. And today I want to launch a trial. I don't know about the success of it, but I know it works. To see how the use of gases, which we developed, would allow to extract how much plastic out of our body. To see how much, if it's possible, this will change our habits, will change our emotion, will change our everyday life. And if we do so, can we make it a permanent feature? I explained before a few years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, where you wear these lycra clothing, colors, different colors, and you're so happy, you look so smart and sleek when you go jogging down the street. The hair shakes and the arm shakes and everyone says, "Oh, what a fit and beautiful person." But you sweat, and you sweat because it has a salinity, and it has in that salinity combination of the amino acid of your body links with these colors which are all carbon connected, and you create your own skin cancers and everything else. More young people are getting diseases out of the sports gear than actually take life from that sport. In a way, we run to kill ourselves when we wear these fancy color clothing with PVC and the rest. We take wrong energy, we take wrong plastic in, and in a way, we marathon ourselves to death. You wear a normal cotton t-shirt, cotton trousers, even whatever says harvested biologically or non-biologically, you stand to shorten your life than strengthen and lengthen your life. I would like, and you will see it on the Keshe Foundation, we're launching a new GANS products, very limited, maybe 10, 20 people maximum. We need those of you who come in, keep a very close observation. Do you see pieces of plastic on your skin? Do you feel when you use the material, piece of skin on it, which is plastic? We want to see how your emotion changes and how you will become part of this new structure. In a way, if it's not if, because I've done it with calcium and we picked up pieces of bone from the brain and metals from the shrapnel. But we need to confirm in the bigger structure because this is becoming, most of us will die in a coming future, when we add 300,000 ton a year into this plastic world, converting, we will die of this process. Most of the premature lives ending will come through the plastic conversion, because our body does not have a storage for it yet. And when we store it, it becomes solid. It's a bone. It's another plastic bone in the brain, plastic bone in your reproduction areas. They have found it in testicles, they have found it in penis, they found it in ovaries, they found it in liver. They have even found plastic in the skin layers. Stays as the energy, but once the man opens it up to the gravitational magnetic field energy of this planet, it shows itself. In a way, let me explain to you how we feed ourselves with it. As you know, Keshe Foundation did a massive research, 3.5 year research, financed by the Italian central government, which the report is in the hand of Italian Parliament and is being shared with the American government because of other reasons, and is part of the archives of the Keshe Foundation. It's nearly 200-page report. Test everything has been done. The report is done by the Italian government. We were the people who they approached us when I was in Italy, provider of the technology, the way we did with Fukushima. This report is so confidential and is so horrendous that Italian government has classified it. We are the owner of the report. So we can speak about it in a certain way. Why I discuss this? It's very simple. We looked at the cancer agents. We looked at the efficiency of the work of the specific materials which I produce the same as what I produce for TEPCO in absorbing the cancerous agents from the waters of the production of what you know as Teflon. We know DuPont in America has been lawsuited for tens of hundreds of millions of dollars for damaging people with Teflon for waters of it. We did a huge test, 3-year research test with what we call Italian government. There was a specific reason for this. It was in concern with the central government. That time, they approached us through our connections. We set up, even where I went to take the material, I had to wear a spacesuit to get into the room type. Well covered, nothing is touched. Everything was put remote on tables that I could not physically touch, gloves and everything else. That dangerous it is. If the water of Teflon, with the data we have, shows 9 highest cancer agents in it, what does the Teflon which we cook in carries in? Every time we heat it, with microplastic and micro Teflon it. Then you can see the other side of the equation from the man who is the user of it. And we are so happy we pay hundreds of dollars to buy the latest Teflon pan to kill ourselves. It's the same as the guy wearing the fancy color plastic to absorb it, to marathon itself to death. I want to see how this will affect us. I'll connect this research to one of the Iran leading universities. So we launch it. And we will, in the next few weeks, connect it that scientifically scientists at research centers monitor the data you give us. The reason we want to do it this way is we want to see across the world what's happening, how effective we are. Not selected few in a city. It's going to be extremely expensive for us to run this, but it's worth it because if we have shown we could remove the tumor as a calcium from the brain, if you could remove the metal as a shrapnel from the muscle tissue, this new material which we have developed should be able to remove plastic energy structure from the body of the man. It's a very specific. None of your knowledge seekers have access to it. You can't even produce it. But it's so energetic that it can transfer the energy fields of the plastic, out of the tissue body, without being ever connected to tissue. In a way, you, let's say, use the fields of this material and you find pieces of plastic in your hair. You find literally flakes of it. It comes out as flakes. We saw the bone flakes on the skin, on the, what we call the skull. So we want to monitor. Do you feel like itching on the head and when you think something comes out? This is what I'm looking for. The plastic inside the brain, when they monitor it, we don't see it. When we open the brain, we take it out of the plasmatic magnetic field environment of the body, which is its own inertia, out, then we test it, we see the plastic. Inside the brain, we don't see a plastic when it operates. It stays as energy. And I want to take this energy out and see if you, as knowledge seekers, see like infection point. You see a blob on your head or your blob on your skin, and it's like a normal infection. When you take it, you feel a grain in it. Because this is how it will show itself most of the time. It's not an infection. It's actually a piece of plastic which goes through your skin and then it manifests itself like infection, but inside it you feel a grain. It's not just a liquid. We want to see how far this can go, and then we can introduce this as a what we call a complete process for taking microplastics energies out of the body. We don't look at the microplastic as matter state in the body. It converts when there's too much of it in the brain. It becomes a seed, like the calcium, which becomes a seed of the breast cancer. There is a possibility that this seed of the plastic now is the cause of the new generation of cancers. That's why we see so many cancers in places we've never saw or seen before. In upper shin, we see it in bone structure, we see it in places where there cannot be cancer. Can we change it? Can we change the salinity of it that leads to it? This is part of the research which I have launched this week. We put it on the Keshe Foundation website. It's extremely important. You're not just taking a guess. You become part of the what we call international research. And the data gives us a lot of information that we can cycle this, withdrawing or trying to come up with a technology that allows us to withdraw nanoplastic particles out of the body of the man. I launched such a thing about 2006, 7, 8, if you remember. You were with us, knowledge seekers, where I sent you the seeds for us to grow 20 of you around the world 15 years ago or so. took part in this, and you grew seeds around the world, and we watched how seeds grow a different way, and the rest of it, if you remember that. We received 2 packs of what we call grains of wheat, and those days no knowledge seekers knew what the gas was. You received a package with the material in it, which that time we never spoke about. After launching it, and later on we spoke about the gas, but those knowledge seekers who used that material liquid you received was actually a gas. And this process has given us a new insight. I want to try this, and if we are, it's not if, I'm 100% sure we will see massive effect, massive change. And if we can do this, then can we go into the systems which we seen in what you call you saw the machine in Linz, where we made a system for vertical system for Corona, where you could go in and transfer the system. It's a black system. If you've been to Linz when the exhibition was on, that you could go inside. Difference in what we call plasmatic field allowed you to get rid of what we call corona plasma energy. I want to launch this, but instead of having a system, I've developed a twin system of ganses. And those of you who participate will be told in an email how to use it and how to report it to us, and allows us to be able to develop a new system that, for example, you can go to a hospital, to a clinic, and in the future you can literally transfer the energy of the plastic and collect it. We collected 10 gram, 20 gram of plastic from your body, reducing possibilities of the further cancer or complications in life. I transferred this research into one of the universities in Iran, monitored by the universities, and to see the development. First we try with gas waters, and then we transfer into what we call systems. It'll take us maybe a year to do, maybe 2 years, but I have initiated the test. We put a link on the Keshe Foundation. It's an expensive test. We have to cover a lot of costs with it. And you join us if you want to be part of this, to help us to extend what we call the process of cleanup in the body of the man. And I'm sure, pretty sure, this is the answer, or one of the answers, or partial answer to what we call removing or understanding energies of the what we call nanoparticles of the plasma. And I hope you join us. I hope our webmasters will put on. It'll be very limited numbers. I don't want to take many people because this is the initial, and as has been our tradition, you finance us to do the research and you get the benefit back to humanity and the rest of it. We will release this one maybe today or tomorrow, but this nanoplastic has become one of the major causes of major conditions. And we have the knowledge, we have tested it, and I think it's time to launch it and help us to understand this more. It's for our future generation and maybe ourselves. As more and more these plastics, as they gather in the islands of the brain of the man and the rest, can can be changed. As our body does not have a disposal for it, maybe we find a way to dispose of it. Maybe we develop the technology together collectively to be done. I have to ask you to go on the website, those of you who would like to participate. We need at least 20 of you, not just one or two, that we have a broader spectrum, different part of the world, different cultures, to be able to understand this process, to be able to replicate the work of the reversing energies into matter outside the body of the man. I'm hopeful that we can do this, and I'm hopeful that maybe the way you go to a dentist and you collect your tooth filling as gold, they give it to you, this is your filling. You can go to a system that they give you the plastic, how much they collected from your body, and to what effectiveness and what it was and what it is. And maybe we can change this course. Done a lot of research on this, and this is a totally internal, maybe one of the first researchers in this field. And in the coming time and coming, what do you call it, months and years, we will gather more data. But this allows us to make it in a what we call field condition as a Trinity system. And I hope we find one of the answers to what we call the future of mankind, maybe to get rid of these islands. We know the technology is just, we've done it before, and it gives us a chance to be able to do it again, and maybe bring a new dimension into the world of science with this technology. It's science as part of the space development, and is unfortunately part of technology, unfortunately, which we shown, but we have never shared with you as knowledge seekers, because of our limitation of everything else which we had. But you have seen the system in the Keshe Foundation, what we call center in in Linz, but this is the liquid variation of it, and it can help a lot of us to understand more about the work and the process of the work of these systems, how we accumulate and how we can get rid of these plastic particles. We understand it to be in the shape of the energy is in the body of the man, where we need to bring it out, as in the test it shows itself as energy once it comes in the conformation of inertia of the planet. If we can do this, it will help us massively in this research. And I hope you knowledge seekers can support us with this, as is one of the causes of, according to the world of science, of the future illnesses and conditions. And we are not curing, we're trying to remove a field energy from the body that is created by what we digest, what we absorb, what energies we attract into our body in the process of what we call working of our systems. And I hope we'll be successful with expanding the knowledge in this field and bringing about what we call the next level of understanding. Those of you who came to Linz, you have seen this system, some of you stood in it, And some of you have felt the field energy inside it. And now we would like to bring it forth as a technology that you don't need to come to a place. Maybe you can do it at home. And if this can be done, this brings a new dimension to the world of research and the development for us, which I hope then we can transfer to you as knowledge seekers and the rest of us to understand and to expand the knowledge to the next level, and how we change the process of energy is very much like what we do tomorrow in the food test. We put energy inside you. With this, we want to take energy outside you. And if we can complete this process, will help us a lot in future programs of the Keshe Foundation in a massive way for extracting energies in space. In case of contamination, as if there's a fear of nuclear, what we call incidents with the Russia pushing in Ukraine, if we can directly extract radiation field through this technology, and we want to push this through as fast as possible to bring it forward. And those of you who've been to Linz, you have seen this system. If you remember the Linz area exhibition, is this unit tucked away, the black unit. We developed this for Corona, that you could go in, transferring the energy for what we call the virus. Now we developed a liquid version of this, where we can specifically target certain things. This research will help us in the future for even extracting like tumors. If you have a shrapnel in the body, directly into the system and is out. They cannot do the heart operation because the shrapnel is too close to the heart. You just put it in the system, take it out. There is a solid state. Now we're dealing with energy. And this research, we launch it maybe today, because we have the material and we give you a structure. This is a trial material manifestation. It's very much connected to transmutation. And where we give the physical dimension to energy, which you are the energy, give the field transmission. This allows us for other researchers to develop. This will be connected, as I said, hopefully to one of the universities in Iran, where the scientists in Iran will collect the data and we expand with it in the programs which is coming up, and we can develop it further. For those of you who join us tomorrow, you will be sent an email, and as one of the knowledge seekers suggested, we will send you a picture of how we want you to connect your headphones in the email. We try to send you a couple of pictures that how you can absorb energy of the, what we call the nourishment across. And we have launched, as you know, the food gases, which some I think has already left us. You should receive it before tomorrow, I hope. And if not, you'll have all those you who are participating in the session tomorrow, should, if you have received or purchased these gases of the nourishment with foods, you use them in the next session. We want to know what you taste, how you felt afterwards. Were you hungry? Did it create any conditions of emotion? And to see how long you last without eating, that we feed you. The session tomorrow does not finish after the session. You're going to get the same bracket of 2 hours as we done before, with different part of different continents, that you all get the maximum benefit. Half of you is not asleep, half of you are awake, we used to do before. And what I want you to do if you have this guns with you, when you receive it, it's too long, like a 10-15 centimeter plastic material, what do you call it, in hand. If you go on the Keshe Foundation website now, you see it in the gift as a gift pack. It's just been posted, I think today, if it has. You hold these in your hand, and when we finish the session and you have these during till next session next month, it's a combination of 4 of them, 4 different like meat, vegetable, whatever, or fruits. You hold these in your hand, and if you have the headset, you connect directly to our system. We keep these parallel systems in our system all the time, that you receive the nourishment. So you decide, I'm hungry, I'm going to take the 2 pieces in my hand, and if what do you call it, I want meat, I can receive the material energy of the meat. I connect to the system, and this allows you to what you call absorb energies in a very beautiful way, and in a what I call amazing way, that it brings a part of the same technology development as we've seen in what they call the structure of our work in past few weeks. Rick, would you like to take the screen, please? When you join us tomorrow, please look at your emails that you are well prepared to come in and to have your systems ready in hand that you can use, and you can go ahead. I was just been told that the structure of this GANS products for the feeding tomorrow will be up on in the scale. So if you have already ordered it, receive it tomorrow. Those of you who received it tomorrow and you have it with you, send us a message that we track you very quickly. And then tomorrow, let's say you receive it and you can use it, and let's say Sunday, Monday, you decide to have a vegetable or meat, by holding it, telling us, connecting to the central system, that you receive the taste, the energy of the, what we call the system, the material. At the same time, as I would like to see what this will bring us in the knowledge, and to what extent this brings us to the knowledge. I can see that the Trinity microplastic GANS has already been launched on the website, and we have a very limited material, limited stock, and we don't want more than 10-20 people in this research in the first step. And if it's successful, we extend it. Then we would like to understand how this extension will add to our knowledge in the next systems to come, and how we can develop this further. Any questions?
Mr. Keshe, is that in the Keshe Foundation store, and do you want me to show that?
Yes, you have. I think both of them are the Keshe Foundation.
You see, I can't.
It's called Trinity Microplastic GANS. Is just been added to the structure. I can send you the link to it. It's the same with the food. Where are you, Rick? Okay. There it
Water.
is. It's on the side, yeah.
Ah, there we are.
Yes. With this, this we have launched. Actually, what I said for the first time, this needs, we just put this price, or what do you call it, for it, the people who go on the trial. It's a twin system. And we would like to ask for any donations added on top of what you pay as a donation for this trial. This is going to be extensively. You're going to bring in students from universities and everything. All the costs should be covered. And hopefully we find a solution to this condition, then it goes internationally, as it does with our work in the future. Any questions?
Yeah, I've run across about micro and nanoplastics, and it's quite amazing statistics. As you mentioned, a portion of our brain is microplastics, essentially. It's able to pass through, it's so nano, it's able to pass through the cell walls and gets into everything. And it's, I think they say there's nanoplastics in every single cubic centimeter of water on planet Earth now.
It has become part of us, and our body has not processed, maybe in the next 100, 1,000 years. Body makes a reserve area like in liver, and evolve to create a disposable part in the kidney and in intestines that we rejected. But at this moment of time, we don't have a process to reject it, and we take so much in that even if we reject, we can't reject all the things we take in. As I said, the problem with microplastics is that they have a chemical bond which is very near to us, because originally comes from petroleum, which is the amino acid bound material. There's a lot of research going on how much of it is in fruits, but our body doesn't have a disposal unit. This is what we try in this trial, is a disposal unit, what the body cannot do till one day it strikes in, and how much plastic you can get out of you. And we have to see it affects what we see, affects a lot on emotion and memory part. It has a balance fields in that environment and strengthening the length of the brain. You see this in the behavior part of the brain. It's field strength. It's like when we spoke about corona and we said it has a strength field of calcium. This material in a nano state condition field strength has a strength in that part of the brain, which connects the link with interconnection, information transfer with memory, which call Alzheimer's and that kind of thing. We would like to observe, how does your partner see you change? Do you see anything? You might wake up in the bed and say, oh, there's a bit of something here. Oh, it could be. There is no it could be. You find it, it is. We want to see it. We want to collect this material and analyze it, how we can transfer it. We expand this process in a very, very, very rapid way. And as I said, we are in a structure to bring a lot of changes in. And this is one of them. We have the knowledge, we go ahead with it, and hopefully we'll see that change. If you understand it, as I said, with a food gas trial tomorrow, we are feeding you in. With this process, we are taking out of you. And it has to be in a specific way done as a plasma.
Mr. Keshe, I remember one time in the past, I can't remember exactly when it was, but you showed a demonstration and talked about how you could create a magnet for plastic.
Yes, that was 10 years. It's must be the first 10 or 15 teaching.
That's right. It was very much one of the
long
primary teachings, that it was not about the just the regular magnet forces that you were talking about, the force of a regular magnet, its magnetic fields, but other fields as well could be that, you know, could be attracted and repelled. So all matter can be attracted and repelled. I think you're trying to make that point. And even plastics and other materials were also magnetic if you knew how to make the magnet.
You got to understand, I talk about this specifically in meetings with scientists and governments. And if you understand what I'm about to say, you understand the essence of the work of the Keshe Foundation. Very fundamentally, from very beginning, as you said with magnet. I've said this many times, maybe today makes a different sense of dimension understanding with it. When the Earth is created, when the planetary system like Earth or stars are created, we have a fixed, what I call magnetic field inertia system. What does this mean?
Recording in progress.
What this means? It means that we cannot change the inertia and the gravitational field of this planet. We cannot change the gravitational field strength of this planet because it's set. The dynamic of this system has absorbed, has created a fixed field strength. What does this mean? This means, let's say, this is the planet Earth, and you have on its surface 1G. We cannot change it. And this 1G, according to its inertia of material, dictates what materials are absorbed and repelled from this planet. That's why we see specific materials of the spectrum here. There are more materials in between, let's say, carbon and nitrogen. For us, we go from 6 to 7. But in fact, there is a massive spectrum of new materials which we don't have the technology to detect. And some of it we detect, we call them isotopes of. Then our gravity field strength is fixed, cannot be changed. So it's fixed to iron. Iron become the field strength of the magnetic field of this Earth. You go in another planet, if the center field strength is different, then the magnetic field is not iron, it's copper. With this new technology, because we can create a dynamic field force inside, the same system can be gravitational field for copper. You change it slightly for zinc, you change it slightly for iron, you change it slightly hydrogen, you change it slightly, it's only helium. For example, system like Saturn have this combination central field strength at the moment in certain part of it, which dictates we see so much helium and other things in this gaseous condition. The central position changes according to the inertia of material on top too. So the knowledge we have now, we have managed to create a system which can be magnet to anything. But this magnetical field absorption inside has a repulsion too. So we can repel all the zincs and magnetic, what called magnesium and whatever, as much as we create a dimension of the what we call the gravity. We have developed a technology in Keshe Foundation which we can dictate repulsion and gravitational. This knowledge is not in the hands of the knowledge seekers. We will never share it. It's fundamental to our work, and it's the knowledge has never been shared by Keshe Foundation in public. But we have developed where we dictate gravity or magnetical field and the strength of. This is part of the space technology. So when we talk about plastic removal, as Rick said about showing a magnet, now because of our technology and knowledge, we can make a magnet for anything, and magnet means gravitational field forces to absorb, and we can create repulsion for anything. It's like that's what I explained to you in the first session about creating what we call a plasma laser. I've been given a specific to reject. It's this part of the repulsion part which is developed. Now you understand how Keshe Foundation worked in the past, present, and what is in research, all connected to each other. We showed making a magnet, moving a plastic with a magnet, as Rick said, 10 years ago. Now you see a more advanced version of it in creation, absorption, rejection of material, or feeding you is the same. Knowledge hasn't changed, it's just how much you understand from it and what you interpret to what you use it for. Any other question? And let me explain something to you very, very clearly. This is what I explained last week, and I know the Iranian leadership and the office of Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, are online. We know the American administration is online today too. The same with the Chinese. We have made a guarantee and a promise to the Iranian nation and the Iranian leadership that we will use the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation according to the path set for us by the Iranian leadership in the political and diplomatic arena as part of the peace process and the knowledge and technology of Iran to bring about the process of peace through knowledge exchange for peace. And I hope, as I know the American administration coming into operation in the next few weeks are online, we ask for your support to understand and collaborate with us as we extend this knowledge. We have made pathways with the American administration, and we work solidly with the Iranian administration to bring a knowledge of exchange for peace. And I thank what I call the Office of Iran administration and leadership for supporting us so solidly and facilitating everything. At the same time, the American administration coming into power, and the same with the Chinese, in understanding our work and understanding that does not matter what is on the surface, underneath we work towards our position and direction, and even trying to bring that position forward as fast as possible. I hope we don't reach to the points that there is no point of return. And I hope that people understand there are two sides to every talk, and we take the path of peace and friendship, and then the war and conflict. And a lot of work has been done by a lot of people in the background to make this possible, and I thank for all of your work, especially those in the highest level or high risk in political and diplomatic corps, which are working with us so closely. And I hope we will all understand that we all can move forward to the next step. Any questions? Are you there, Rick?
There we go. Sorry about that. I thought I was unmuted. I was earlier, but had a glitch. Okay, here we are. We do have a hand up, and we have a question in the YouTube here. From Peng Peter, when will the transportation system be commercially available, and how much would it cost roughly? Planning to start saving money for it.
Can you repeat?
From Peng Peter, who says, when will the transportation system be commercially available, and how much would it cost roughly? Planning to start saving money for it.
Left to me, next 6-12 months. Left to governments, God help us.
You've been asked this question over the last 10 years many times.
Yeah, you see, we have got into a position now that how can I say? The problem is we see more and more of it. Let me explain to you in a very different way. It's not the technology is not available. The technology is how much the government wanted to be available. Rick, if you look at the chat, they put a link on and it says at the end of it, you can see the plastic magnet. Somebody just posted the link. Is this at the beginning of Fukushima? It says towards the end, you can see the plastic magnet.
Okay, I'll try to find that part and we can show it here.
Yeah, okay. You got to understand that we have this problem now with the Chinese government at the highest level. We have two fronts. One, we work with the Chinese knowledge seekers. One, we work in the background with the Chinese structure inside. But we have to keep one side, as the other side is always problems with it. We have shown the Chinese government, military and the rest, the production of rare earth material, which baffled them. They've just gone crazy with it. It can be done. Chinese government is not interested to promote it or to work with Keshe Foundation. The reason, they spend billions, hundreds and hundreds of billions, planned 40, 50 years ago to control all the rare earth materials that with it, they control the Western economy, the world economy. Colonization by material, I call it. 95% of the rare earth material, which is a gateway for expansion of the new science and technology, is controlled by Chinese. Now here it comes Keshe Foundation. We go to the Americans, we say we can give you all the rare earth material, the production, Iran. What is the response of the Americans? We cannot get the material from Chinese. Chinese have controlled us. This is why we have so much problem in the new electronic world. So we have shown, we have spent tens of thousands of euros developing, delivering, showing, and everything else to the Chinese, and the Chinese understand the damage you can do to them. Mr. Keshe, we are not interested. We go to the Americans, they give you a fortune because the shackles of Chinese control over their science is gone. Now Keshe Foundation becomes enemy to Chinese and a friend to the Americans. We show how to produce another work, transportation. When it comes to transportation, at the moment, I have a big problem. All major governments around the world are our enemies. Let me explain, you understand. Now in the Western Europe and America, we see Islamic things, Muslims, refugees, and all the battles, and we saw what happened in the election. People who are legally in one place, brought in from a disaster, now become immigrants, blah, blah, and all the threats, and we saw what happened in the American election. The technology of the transportation is in the hand of the Iranian government. It's in the hand of the Iranian scientists. We released this in conjunction to go against the others, released it to the Americans. It'll become public. How many millions of immigrants you will see on the streets of Washington from Africa who do not know the left and right hand? Or like the Arabs and Bedouins in Dubai, which they gave them, built them the most luxurious houses. And what did they do? They took the wooden frame and the doors and they burned it on the floor. The mentality is not there. And now you bring all this to Washington, London, and the rest in millions. Governments do not want to see the Keshe Foundation technology in certain aspects, especially transportation, to come public. It's not to their benefit. It messes up with their control, the passport control, every restriction they set up. We see those who thought are ahead, now they cannot catch up and they have to create deviations. What happened? What we saw with Tesla in the past few days. The biggest car battery production in the world, in China, shut down. Why? Because the technology of the Tesla was so advanced and everybody wanted a Tesla car. Now with the Chinese coming with the new, more advanced, more adventurous cars in electronic, Tesla looks good, but in 6 months I cannot sell anymore because it's obsolete. So now when we hear the Americans putting tariffs on American and Chinese cars, it's not because they can't match anymore. It's another way of admitting defeat in science development. Why Trump administration is going to bring huge restrictions and penalties and tariffs on the Chinese cars? Because Americans cannot catch up. If you live like we do in China and you look at the electric cars, you see Tesla is nearly in the bottom of the rank because they got so advanced. And now Tesla has to close in and clean the shame off, we don't want to because we want to support, because you lost, for you to become advanced like them, they've stolen your technology and added to it, you're behind. American mentality says we don't steal, but they steal because they stole our Fukushima technology to make it Americans. They don't talk about it, but when the Chinese steal from them, they cry. But the Chinese stolen, and what the Americans are developing to come in the European American cars in 5 years' time is already stolen by the Chinese. It's the Chinese version. When the American come up with it, sorry, you're too late. So we're in the same position. We cannot launch our space technology in travel because you can fly from your roof to New York in 10 minutes. You can land in your bedroom, no one knows. You can land on the roof of your restaurant, your favorite restaurant, no one knows, and go back to Japan and have a hullabaloo time. This is part of the problem. This is why we negotiate. Everyone says, oh, Mr. Keshe goes with the government, gives patents to the government technology, because they are the decision makers of how it comes. We didn't give our technology to the King of Belgium. We have it by Fox. And we are banned from all the television networks around the world. Governments are powerful. Technology of the Keshe Foundation will bring changes which are fundamental. And we play, as one of the world leaders said recently, Keshe is diplomat, not a scientist at the moment. One of the world leaders in the past few days has said to us, Keshe is a diplomat, not the researcher. He wears that clothes because he's trying to negotiate. This is the word of one of the most eminent world leaders of today in the past few days. I wear clothes of scientists on Thursday and the rest of the week to teach you, to work in the lab, to develop technologies, negotiate with the politicians, negotiate with diplomats, trying to accommodate, sail this technology through. And then your knowledge says, oh, Mr. Keshe doesn't do this, Mr. Keshe doesn't do it. You do not know how much we do. I sleep 3-4 hours a day. The rest, even that, the sleeping time I'm working, I don't know if I'm asleep. They tell me you're asleep, but I say I was working. This is the problem. Can we bring the space technology? Can we bring transportation? You do not need the ticket for going from New York to Beijing, New York, Tehran to New York should be about $2. No more. Even that makes 1,000-time profit. Because we don't burn energy anymore. The energy of the transportation is given by God to us as the magnetic field of this earth. We don't have the factories to build aircrafts. We create the structure from the magnetic fields. So our knowledge is not when, our knowledge is how diplomatically we negotiate in between governments. One government pays us and one government shoots us. We produce gas, we produce petroleum, we produce protein which can become petroleum. Ooh, from the Dutch government to Norwegian government, Saudi Arabia, America, China. China likes us, by the way. Russia, Iran, Middle Eastern countries, they want to shoot us because they lose their revenue. Who likes Keshe Foundation in the petroleum side? No one. Do you know you can buy a liter of gasoline in Iran around about 5 cents a liter? And this is Iran under sanctions. The prices have to be put up to cover the expense of the nation. Most probably in Iran, if it wasn't, you buy it for about 1 cent, as it used to be, 1 or 2 cents a liter. How come we pay $4, $3, $4, $5, $10 a gallon in the West for the same thing you pay 20 cents in Iran? These people, $6, $7, $8 a gallon, are the ones who don't want to see the Keshe Foundation. Nation like Iran, 5 or 10 cents, wants to see it because it changes the game. This is where the problem sits. When and how much? Technology is here. We are the only organization who has developed new fuel, who has developed a new space technology, who has developed a new communication system, who's developed production of new material, and we are not allowed to come in public by the order of Fox because of a pedophile king of Belgium. You go back before 2012, magazines, articles about Keshe Foundation was everywhere. Now, even if you do a research in a university in America and you put your technology, part of it from Keshe Foundation, they won't allow you to publish your research. This is the problem with us, and time will tell. The technology is siphoning up step across. One step left for Tesla cars to convert into magnetic gravitational field that the Chinese will not do. You cut the whole market, 80% American cars. The dream of Mr. Trump to have car industry back in America used to be his only Keshe Foundation. Tesla electric cars cannot do. Chinese don't want it because it's a big problem for them. They're through buying of oil, people pay for it, gas, they're controlling the gas supplies, the countries which they supply it. It's a fake economy. I said that to the Chinese generals, we are not stupid. This is what, as knowledge seekers, you have to understand. Our problem is not our technology. Our problems are government and the structure which they have set up to control you. You wanted to show the video, Rick?
Yes, I was showing it there. I'm not sure what exactly what part where you're showing the.
I don't know. I don't know this. It's the first time we saw the link coming up. I showed a video where we put a plastic and we move it. I don't know where that is.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's in this video,
No,
but
I don't think so. No.
Picking up of the idea of picking up nanomaterials with the magnetic rings and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any other question?
Okay. We did have a hand up, but I don't see any hands up right now. If anybody does have a question, please raise your virtual hand and we can allow you to open your microphone. We have another question from the chat. The person that just raised their hand from Desi, who says, can you please explain the application and benefits of the plasma field mirrors, a product from your e-shop? What are the benefits of it?
Oh, a lot of benefits. First of all, it's how you hold it, where you put it, you absorb or you reflect, is part of the communication system of the Keshe Foundation. When you link through the communication system, it becomes massively applicable. We have released a lot of materials all over the Keshe Foundation that it'll come together to be used in conjunction, like the communication unit, the plasma units, the field in replicators. These are all have applications of how you do it. You have to expand. These mirrors, you have it with a hole or without the hole. You You learn how to transfer energy in a combination of the two hands with it. You decide to change the emotion. When you hold them in what position, you can change emotion. Do you put them in your hand, or you use them as like two patches on two sides of the body? There's a lot of application, but we have to teach you step by step. Like we asked the people who join on Friday for these sessions or last times, if they bring it, how to hold it and use it. It is in a way a source for many things, and is a system to feed many things. It depends in which part of the technology of the foundation you want to use them for. It's what we call in English is a French spanner. You know the French spanners? You have a little rotating ball and you adjust it to what nut you want to fit it to, what size. This is the work of these discs.
French spanner. Okay.
You know that, you know which one I'm talking about.
Adjustable wrench.
Yeah, adjustable wrench is known as a French spanner in many, many languages.
I was just trying to find the GANs or the nano-coated discs here.
Is somewhere. We have a few pieces in the stock, I was told a few days ago. There is a weight. We don't produce the ones without the hole anymore. But I know the ones with the holes are produced. There's a lot more in the store somewhere than these things.
Yeah, it's
The question.
here. I think it was at the bottom somewhere. There is a bottom. It's almost a bottomless well of products.
I was looking at the YouTube very recently, and it says Keshe Foundation's got over 4,100 videos. And I thought, my God, this is a lot. Who's put the last up? Knowledge seekers are continuously adding. I know the knowledge seekers are here listening to what I'm talking about. I asked the Keshe Foundation team to get in touch with. If you are the knowledge seekers, you know who you are, and we've seen you putting products like flour and oil made from the gas production of the harvest. Get in touch with us. We promote your material and we put it on the store. I've asked the Keshe Foundation team to get in touch with you. We've seen you are trying to promote, as you, if you were in the Keshe Foundation conference in China, one of the knowledge seekers brought a harvest of rice and gave about, I think, half a kilo to everyone. There it is, you found it. Of the participants. If you have produced any harvest which certified and guaranteed by US knowledge seekers to be made of the ganses, we are prepared to support you in promotion and sale of it, because it brings another dimension to our work. The same as what we've done with the soap now. You will see the huge amount of soap products appearing, and sooner or later you will see more materials, as I said, gradually coming into the gas production. Any other question?
That's a great idea, Mr. Keshe, and perhaps people like Gianni can offer something that way.
You know, we've seen Gianni putting that up. We've seen the Chinese, one of the Chinese knowledge seekers is actually selling products to harvest to farmers. And he takes the harvest. He's a close collaborator with the Keshe Foundation for years. We see different knowledge seekers. You produce something which is connected to Keshe Foundation work. We are prepared to support you through our network. You might sell 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 in the Keshe Foundation is different proportion. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. Let me see here. We had a hand up with Jalal, and the hand went back down again. I don't know what the reluctance is. We've had that happen several times here. So
yeah, he must be busy. When he works, he cannot come online.
I will allow him to talk if he has the opportunity.
He's back. Yeah, his microphone is off.
Talking.
Yeah, I am here now.
Oh, he's here. Hi, Jalal.
Hi, Mr. Keshe. Hi, Rick. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Sorry, I have a lot of work, so when there is a chance to speak, I jump in, you know. My condolences, Mr. Keshe, for Keshe Foundation and for the family of John, a good soul. And we win a new star foundation, Keshe Foundation star in the space now, along with the other Keshe Foundation knowledge seeker where they passed before. Mr. Keshe, about that video, what you speak about, the plastic road, it is in the private teaching. And it have about two links or 3 links to it, and there's a secret behind it. So when they join the 3 videos together, they will find the secret of that magnet.
We don't see it, we don't have it. You have the link.
It is in the private teaching. I have to search for it.
That's good. No, I don't know, but I remember putting it up. We videoed it because it was important. And it has a lot of application, if one understands.
If you like, I can bring it next week.
It'll be nice. It'll be nice. We might inspire some other people with some new knowledge to do something with it.
But you will reveal the secret.
Since when we had the secret, we don't talk about it. But
okay, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much, Jalal. Thank you for all your help and support. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presence, Mr. Keshe. Thank you.
There are rumors and things going on within what they call the world of what they call governments, that there's a threat of the use of nuclear materials in Ukraine. We have put a structure before, if anything happens, what to do. Please go through it, understand it, that if this happens, is in one of the teachings, I will clarify clearly, explain what it is, what needs to be done, and stick to the parameters. We are on, as one of the world leaders said, we are not on 11:59. We are sitting on the 12, waiting for the first stroke to confirm. We're that close to the total war out in the test of nuclear material that is horrendous. And I hope we don't get to that point. And we know all why. we suddenly seen a rapid increase in destruction and ferocity of the war, both in Middle East and in Ukraine. And we might see in a couple of other places in the next month or two. It's just because somebody lost the election. And out of anger, they're trying to take revenge on the others. I think this is a wrong approach. And this is what's going to bring us to brink of annihilation. In a way, as I said many times before, only America, Western Europe, and Northern Hemisphere will be what I call wiped out. And it would leave us back to go back to our origin, back to Africa, and seeing how many million years some of them which nuclear material was not used in that area will come out of the holes as a new creatures who can tolerate high dosage of radiation. And we are at that brink of points with the present politics. And if time comes and we're still here at whatever, understand what you can do with the gases, how you can clean your body with it, and make it a source of food, energy, and medicine. Any other question?
Yeah, we have a question in the chat here from Daniela, I believe. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. I wanted to ask if it is possible to become a satellite, or is this process already finished? I can't find it on the website anymore. Thank you.
Yes, you can. We still need more. And I think it's somewhere in the websites. I try to ask them to bring it up. It had to do with the other past sessions we had. Yes, we always need satellites. It's one of the most important part of the work of the Keshe Foundation in the future to come. I'll try to see what it is. Let me send a message. If I can get the link for you.
Mr. Keshe, I was wondering if you recognize the background image for today's video.
I know this one. The minute I saw it, I remember the tent with the light in the middle. What do you call the universal system that it gives you everything, the Oasis.
Oasis, yes, Oasis system. I have another, there we go, picture of it here. Let me just set that up.
In a way, the Oasis system now is, you see that one, the light there? Let me see, I have to do something. Just 1 second, please.
Here's a blow up of the unit itself,
Yeah, keep it there.
as shown in the patent.
Yep, keep it there. I'm going to show you something else. I have to find it.
In a way, maybe this unit is becoming more important than ever.
Give me a second. When you want it, you can't find it. I'll show you the new version of this thing in a way. That was, what do you call it, conceptual. I'll show you, if I can find it, the actual one, which does what it says in a way, but it's getting developed further. There we are. I have to share it with you in a different way. That's the conceptual. When I put it on, you can put it next to it. What you see there is, Rick, I have sent you a link for what you're asking. Where are you? For the satellite. I'll show you the physical version of what you have there, what we put schematic. And then you can put them next to each other. You see, that was nearly 20 years ago. And today we have achieved that in some ways. It's going to be more advanced of it. This is how this looks. That's the reality of it. You see, can you put the two together next to each other, Rick? What we saw as an Oasis system, the new Oasis system, it will be something like this, and it's actually produces energy, produces water, and produces gas. And 20 years later down the line, you see what was said to be developed and to be done. So this is the Oasis in a physical condition, getting developed. And in this, we produce water, liquid, we produce gases of the energies, and because of it, it produces conversion to energy as power. And I'm sure this will be completed in a totally different way in the near future. That's conceptual. This is the reality. I just saw something you put up. Would you like to put that link up? The link which Rick is putting up on the screen is for those of you who can go to the website for satellites.
So that's the link that goes to the store. Apply to become an all-purpose plasma flight satellite and welcome the travelers of the universe.
Any other question?
Okay, thank you for answering that. Hong says all Twinity products, stamina, microplastics, cycle, etc., have a shelf life of 6 months, correct? After 6 months of use, they have to be thrown away, right? And I want to ask more how to combine use with the field replication unit. So shelf life that way?
By law, we have to put a 6 month shelf life. By law, we have to put 6 months shelf life. You acknowledge because you know how long the man has lasted.
I think a lot of Ganses would have been thrown away if they only if we only let them last 6 months. I've got several that have been around 6 years and they look exactly the same now as they did when they were born 6 years ago.
I always say the people who legislate these things in the future will have a huge problems with the GaNs and plasma technology.
Well, generally they're dealing with things that have a shelf life because there's rotten stuff that rots, but plasma doesn't rot in that way. In fact, it does the opposite. It tends to prevent rot and prevent degradation and so on.
I think the whole world of science will come up with a new parameters for this kind of technologies. Any other question?
I have a question from Liz New in the Q&A here. It's one of our final questions, or maybe one or two more. How to create the conditions to stop the abuse and the need of control of mothers to their children, as their emotions are so powerful and create so many damages difficult to manage in the short and long run.
I think not even God has found the solution to this. The mothers are the source of creation, and they themselves are created out of combination of the others and different conditions. And it's impossible because we don't know what was and what went through their lives and how we can promote them to find the balanced path and do it. Elevation of the soul is the only solution. But again, it comes to the emotional physicality. What emotion it raises in a man. I've talked about this years ago, and maybe even recently again. When we started the process of testing systems for wellness, I met a lady, one of the knowledge seekers. They know they listen to most of teaching. She could work only 3-4 hours a day, and she was exhausted for the rest of the week. And that 3 or 4 hours she had to do to be able to get Social Security to live. After some sessions and use of the systems of the Keshe Foundation at that time, she could literally live 20 hours a day and sleep 4 hours a day, and she changed her life, right? And it was extreme cases of fibromyalgia. And the whole reason for this was the way she was treated by the mother. And even mother died 10, 20 years ago, she still had a fear of her damage to her. And it was caused of the fibromyalgia. When she recovered, I said to her, go back to the graveyard and say you won. and their life changed. Even the mother dead after 20 years still was affecting a woman of 40, 50s, to the extent that she could not even work and breathe. And as I've said before, I think before, around this time near Christmas, I saw her daughter. She asked me she wanted to meet. She said, I just want to see, to thank you for, after 22 years, I get a hot food at home. My mother is living here. And this is the love of the mother becoming the abuser of child. And we want that love, does not matter what, and the mother use it to abuse it. And mothers have that, and they think it's their right, and they're always right, and they do not know what seeds of pain they're causing their children. Just because we see them as women, we see them as weak, they need to be protected, and they're the mother, and they have to do everything else. And those who are abusers use it extensively. They come to realize they never had anything, now they have something, they can use it. And it's very interesting. I was watching, it's the same psychology, it doesn't change much. We've seen that in the, doesn't matter how poor you are as a mother, and how, as a woman, and how rich and who you become as a woman. And this reflects back across the work of this mother does not know a status of the queen to a cleaner. As a mother, when they abuse it, as a positional mother, when they abuse it, there's no solution for it except elevation of the soul of the mother. But the emotional physicality always takes over. Just elevate their soul. That's the only way you can reach these mothers. And abuse goes worse for girls than boys. Mothers create more problems psychologically, physically, for their daughters than they do for their sons. They see the son as a protector if something happens to the alpha member of the family. And a lot of mothers see the daughters as the one who taken the love from the alpha member of the family, and they have to be humiliated, destroyed, and everything else for them to be on the top. They don't see that if they understand it, that's a pleasure they were given to give, to create. And I've seen many of these across the past, especially 20 years with the Keshe Foundation. Mothers who destroy their daughters because they think they lost part of the love. If you're a man, live with a woman and a daughter in the house, sit the two next to each other and tell them, I love you both the same. And thank the wife for bringing for you, the daughter, to know how much you love her as your daughter and her as a creator of that daughter. You solve 90% of the problems in your household. Not just for yourself. Makes the life more pleasurable for the child as much as the mother. Emotion of jealousy is one of those things which women develop fully in their hormones and has to be changed. And a lot of mothers are jealous about their daughter And that's the problem we see with a lot of children, because later on they become mother and they transfer that hate, that jealousy, that emotion to the next generation. Interference, continuous interference in the life of the children, because they want to be in charge, they want to be the alpha. Up to now the father was alpha, now I control through emotion my daughter-in-law, my son-in-law, and everything else, because I'm the top dog now. I have the tools of emotion, and he just has the tool of the pocket and money in it. If the parents are taught in the schools, instead of alphabet and algebra, the teaching of the emotion and share of love, 90% of the problem in our societies will not be there. When you're satisfied, you're not hungry, and when you're hungry, you don't make mistakes to feed that hunger. And that's the pitfall with mankind. Does not matter if it's food, it's emotion, it's love, and the rest. Any other question?
Yes, we have a couple of questions from a new knowledge seeker here, Desi. And first of all, he's interested, or he or she, I'm not sure what it is interested in a comprehensive wellness program for my family of 4, which is offered in the e-shop. Could you please give me some more details about its coverage for a 10 years period, or indicate the past workshop that I could refer to for more information?
These are set for prevention. Those of you who bought these contracts from the Keshe Foundation, you already been the first or second phase of it. You're invited twice a year to join in on the prevention one or 2 hour sessions. And then if your family gets in any kind of wellness, you go back to the Keshe Foundation wellness centers, and the cover is free, or because you bought the contract from the foundation. And it's very simple. If any previous diseases you mentioned, it's not a policy that if you have it, we don't accept you. Or some people buy the contract because it's easier to get, but if you have it in the past, we reconsider a position. And it's supposed to be, it's getting better and better in a way of improving the conditions, and then we update, we upgrade. Even people who joined us in some of the sessions a year ago, 2 years ago on the wellness side, as for example, we developed a new technology in past few weeks, they receive new material. We don't care about you made a payment to the wellness center 2 years ago and how it benefited. If we see a new development, we recall the people back to use it. And these contracts are part of those development of technology. It covers you and the family, and it tells you what it covers. We do our best to try to help with the wellness center in Germany, the processes of the conditions and prevention. When you buy these contracts, the first thing is you are covered with prevention 2 sessions a year anyway. And but if you hit anything in the 10 years, you come back in and the process is totally free and is covered in the best ability of the knowledge to help. This thing is going to get more and more. We are talking with governments to cover national insurances under this. With 2 governments, we are in talk. And to start running trials with 1,000, 10,000 people, that we do the prevention and then monitor. And then gradually it has to be done to be certified to become part of the government policy. I have a message here from the administration of Keshe Foundation. It's on the chat. Would you like to read it, Rick? Or I read it for you, I'm there. It says,
Yep.
can anyone in the community find the teachings or session where it was thought how to maintain the constant room temperature with GaNs and or nano-coated material? If you know, please contact Rick with the link. I'm sure Jalal knows where it is.
That's probably true. I was part of the early teaching.
I think it's in what, 6-7 years ago. It keeps the room temperature as 22 degree constant. You have to spray the gases on even the glasses in the house, the windows. And it's mixed with some paints. If I remember, we use some of these paints with the Chinese trans, with the military, and it keeps a constant 22 degrees.
Sorry about that. My internet just disappeared for a few seconds there. I was saying that, let me get my chat back up here. There we go. Desi had another question. He was a new, he says, can you advise people like me who are new in the group with which of your products we can improve the atmosphere in a room where we are sleeping? Maybe the plasma field's absorption butterfly?
One of the best things to change emotion and bring a change in the house is magnesium. If you use magnesium GaNs in the bottles and put them around the house, and it takes time, it's not tomorrow. You see the changes 3 months, 6 months down the line, you have a look and you see. And the process is, there's a reason for magnesium. Magnesium has a specific characteristics which we tried this, a husband and wife, we said each other's throat, killing each other, literally. The house now, you can't even pin drops. That's what the daughter tells us. It's so quiet. She says you can even, if a pin drops, we can hear it, where it used to be battles, whatever. Magnesium is a one of, if you have, don't put it near you, but use magnesium as in 200, 300 ml, but you don't put it in one room, you put it across the house in different positions. And always when you use it, make sure the amino acid of it is with it. It has a huge effect on emotion. Any other question?
I believe we had a hand come up here, so we can probably address that. And I think that'll be pretty much it for today. Just get to it here.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, if you would like to go ahead, please. Elizabeth, did you have a question?
Sorry. Maybe I don't. I'm sorry.
Oh,
maybe it's wrong. Thank you. I'm sorry. Maybe it's an accident. Thank you so much, and thank you, Mr. Keshe, for all.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Shall we call it a day?
I think you've done quite well here. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. There's one question you could probably answer very quickly from Daniela, who says, do you have any idea what percentage of global cancers have an emotional cause and what percentage have an environmental cause? You mentioned the microplastics today, for example, and
we know scientifically a very large percentage of cancers are emotional. Even the loss we announced today had emotion behind it, and we tried in every sense to change it. And the person was aware of it. But the loss was too much for the emotion not to take over. The percentage of the emotion loss is huge. Huge. I put it, from what we've seen, over 50-60%. Because it's something we deal with every day. Environmental cancers now most probably cover 15-20%. If you live in China, if you live in Beijing, if you live in cities like other part of cities of China, there is a daily report in China. You can see your atmosphere, your air composition. And I was brought to understand this the first few days I stayed in Beijing by a hotel manager. So you look outside, you don't see, this is all dirt. And quality, air quality in China, in some cities, most of the time is so dangerous that the government tells you to not go out. You receive messages sometimes on your governmental message text, the air pollution is high, people with their respiratory and these conditions don't go out. Governments know about this. It's not something made up. If you live in China, some cities, you get alert of the high pollution, and then you see it moves. For me, when I lived in China, was daily routine, even twice, 3 times a day, to see how the pollution is. Am I going out for a walk? I'm not going for a walk. And going for a walk, you absorb whatever is in the air, and your chances of cancer increases. Living in some cities in China is like literally living in the middle of the Chernobyl in some days. You feel you can't breathe. Pollution in Chinese cities is very different than, I know you get in Los Angeles, you get in New York, in Tehran. We have this and we are used to it in big cities. But as I was explaining this to a knowledge seeker yesterday, I had an extensive talk about this yesterday regarding this pollution of the air. This planet of ours is dynamic. And we are in one position in a few milliseconds. And the air is not glued to the earth, it's free. So I pass this point with a high pollution, the residual of it is you coming back in India and in Tehran and then in London and then New York, you pick up my dust. It's not anymore what China does will affect China. What China does affect all of us. And air pollution is part of the process of now creating of cancer agents. We know what it does. The nanoplastic is not just in the food you eat, you carry a bag, it's in the air you breathe too. watch now. We're doing a lot of work, a lot of research, which sets up the research and solutions for Keshe Foundation in the future. Like what I announced today about this plastics, and I saw there's a mistake in the pricing of it. It has to be corrected by the foundation. I'll inform them after the teaching. One of the worst things, especially for women, which I don't, you know, I used to talk about the toothpaste, never use a toothpaste. If you want to kill yourself, use a toothpaste. If you want to create problems of every shape or form, use a toothpaste. You know, I've talked about this quite extensively. If you understand the process of it. Pollution is another way. These plastics are another way. We try to find a solution and give a solution until we don't test it to confirm the solution. The way we did with Corona, the way we did with Fukushima, you cannot say till you test and you're done and you're correct. Is air pollution. And now for especially women is these talc powder spray as a deodorant. Deodorant, or what we call another word for it, deodorant is still carries certain problem, especially if you have an aluminium in it, is worse. And we see a lot of new type of cancers with lip cancer and breast cancer with young girls, which are connected to cosmetics. This is the problem. We don't look, we don't want, we would like to get into the position to understand, but fragrances used are one of the causes of the emotional. It gives you a good smell, but then it gives you depression and it gives you all sorts. Read the research about feminine, what is in the perfume. They touch, they have the feel strength and the level of the emotion, and changes a lot. The antiperspirant, the deodorants, and the especially the new talc spray which is coming to the market, is causing a lot of cancer. These are scientific report research. Look at how much cosmetics you use is absorbed as a material which the body cannot absorb, and he stores it. You see, something which I explained in the scientific paper years ago. You take this nano-materials, you get this ferment that they come with their own deodorants and perfumes. They spray everywhere, they go everywhere in the house. It's not just on your skin, because you smell it. If it wasn't going everywhere, you cannot use, somebody's in the bathroom says, oh, you use that spray, I can smell it. This is landing on every furniture thing, and your baby walking, smell it, taste it, and the rest of it. Understand one principle. And if you understand this principle, you understand part of your problems as a human. When you, let's say, eat something, you take too much calcium, the body knows how much calcium you need. Then it has used a filter, it's developed a filtering system in your intestine and in your bladder, in your kidneys. That when this material comes, it says calcium, 10 milliliter gram for today, now I have 20. So now you're responsible to take 20 milligram out. 5 milligram is for you, kidney to do, 6 milligram is for your intestine to do. So it has a filter, it has a measurement. Nanoplastics, brain doesn't have a function for it, hasn't got a measurement for it. It goes to the kidney, I have nothing here to clear, I send it back in. And when it goes back in, body has to find a place for it, because liver refuses, it doesn't have a meter for measurements and dimension for nanoplastic. So it has nowhere to go, and he has to dump it somewhere. Brain is a soft tissue connection of protein which dumps in the brain. Then it comes Alzheimer's. This is how you get these diseases from plastic. Our storage capacity system, liver, our rejection position in what you call the big intestine, the colon and the kidney don't have yet measurement for rejecting anything, which is there is no filter for plastic at the moment and no measurement of how much to keep. And body holds on to what it cannot reject because it gives a false information that is liver has rejected it, the kidney has rejected it, I have to put it somewhere. This is how you create your own mental conditions and your cancers with your toothpaste. You're fooling the system. You use a toothpaste, you put a combination of material which is in it, sugar because it has to taste right, the odor which just smells nice in your mouth, and calcium or whatever they put in it. And one company, if you go to teaching in the past, put aluminium in it, or sorry, zinc in it. And then we saw so many heart attacks. 10,000 people died because of toothpaste in 1990s. Then they said there's something wrong because they never understood. You use a toothpaste, they say it's got calcium on it. They say it's got zinc on it. You put it in your mouth. It's like eating 10 portions of, let's say, whatever vegetable or meat which gives you that amount of zinc or calcium. Now, when you put that in your mouth, the brain automatically sends a message to the kidney and to the body system, get rid of, I'm getting a fresh supply, you get rid of your old stock. So your body rejects the calcium, magnesium, whatever from the body waiting for what's in the toothpaste to come. But you spit it out, doesn't come in. Now it's depleted. This is how we see now huge increase in girls, especially because of this hormone connected with their what I call obesity, what you call their bulimia. This is what happens exactly the same. Why do bulimic people die? Because they deplete certain things from their body, because body thinks the food is there, but they gush it out. So the bulimic puts a finger in to get rid of. You people put a toothbrush, you do the same thing. You're causing 80% of your own diseases by, ooh, the doctor says that, the Colgate said, this said, toothbrush morning and after. Yes, toothbrush it without anything. Your toothpaste, you're as worse with your toothpaste than the bulimic girl. No different. You walk on the street. These people who have 2 minutes toothbrush, toothpaste, electronic system for 2 minutes. Yes, shove it in and bang it on and very happy. Darling, you have to wait. I'm still brushing my tooth. I'm causing my own cancer. I'm causing my own everything else. You look at the cheeks of the girls who use toothbrushes frequently to smell good and nice. They have the same chubby cheek as the girl have it with bulimic. No one said, don't use a toothbrush. Toothbrush 10 times a day. Don't put anything on it. Whatever you put on it, swallow it. You don't fool your body. Find a system that you can swallow it. Salt. Whatever. And then you just swallow it because the brain has got rid of, you don't supply. Then there is a shortage somewhere. Shortage leads to absorbing more. Then going by the principle of the plasma, you get yourself diseases. Huge amount of the conditions, mental conditions, emotional conditions, diseases we see with people. I said once before, ask them how many times they brush their tooth and to which material, which company they use. Look for the blood disease code, you see it's connected. It's related, you cannot ignore it. Because the body next time when it comes, it stores it, that in case it comes with a toothbrush, you get rid of it, there it solidifies, it becomes the cause of your cancer. You don't need to be genius to understand this. And it's the same. Materials you use as a toothbrush creates a condition of the emotion change. Emotion change brings condition of everything as you become less tolerant. Emotion changes, and then you blame yourself. You get cancer, you get everything else, ILS and the rest of it. It's the story of the king and his sons and the sticks. The more you have the spectrum equal, the thicker stick you have, you can hold on. When it's a single stick, the body becomes weak. You have got rid of everything. There's no strength to cover it. You people go on a diet. The first thing you do with a diet, you do a diet. They say, don't eat fat, don't do this, don't. If you plan to do a diet, you plan first thing before you do the diet. 50 grams of butter, pure butter a day. Don't look at the calorie. Does not bring the calorie into play. It strengthens the heart. Heart is strengthened, the soul of physicality is strengthened, the emotion is strengthened. You go, why do people go back into all sorts of problems with dieting? Because the heart pressure changes. You diet, first thing in the morning, I'm dieting. 25, 50 gram butter on a toast, on whatever, in my egg, fried, in melted butter on vegetable. Because you strengthen the muscles of the heart. The heart is the point of the center of your soul of physicality, which creates your emotion. The emotion doesn't go, the soul doesn't go, the rest of it. Understand what you're doing, understand the physicality, the physiology of the body, and then do the job. Understand how to change and portion, how to get rid of. Do fasting, this intermittent fasting, twice a week, once a year, for 1 month, 2 months. Get rid of the poisons in your body. It does it itself. You don't need to do much. But those of you who do intermittent fasting, you have to understand how to connect it with diet, that you get the full spectrum of everything. You do intermittent fasting, 18 hours, 24 hours, 1 meal a day. No problem, it's perfect. But for a certain amount of time, and then break it up once a week, twice a week, live a full life. 2 or 3 days you don't touch any meat. 2 or 3 days you just use lentils. 2 or 3 days lentils with the meat, and then 1 or 2 days meat with the starch and everything included. The body doesn't stop, doesn't need to store, doesn't create the problems in the future. If you learn how to adjust it, then you don't. Everything you eat touches your emotion, and the emotion causes cancer or brings you joy. Air pollution touches the emotion. You sit in the sun, you enjoy, you're fresh, you see in the winter, you're cold. That air you breathe and the fields you absorb. Air pollution brings the same. We are all interconnected. And this is what we have to understand as a society. And we are responsible, because the air I breathe, the pollution I create, affects that lion in the jungles of Africa, affects the monkey and the other animals in Brazil, as much as it affects the king in his palace, because he breathes the same excrement of mine. Test was done years ago by universities. I can't remember which university did this. And there's a lot of these tests done. And because of it, some government changed things. You go to a hotel. First thing you look at the hotel. I always tell the hotel managers, and in China they have sorted this out. In Western Europe, is literally the most horrendous thing that you people give yourself and give the others. You walk into any Western hotel, majority of them, some they have changed policy in all the hotels, even in your own house. You have a toilet roll which you use is on the hand reach. You sit on the toilet, you can reach it. The toilet roll reserved for when this one finishes is at the bottom next to the floor. The guy before you, excuse my French, has pissed in the pot. The girl before you had a diarrhea and other diseases, has used the toilet and flushed the toilet. That toilet roll in the hotel, below the toilet seat, even above toilet seat, is all the diseases, all the excrements of all the people who stayed in that hotel before you. And you wipe your mouth with it as well, because it's at the hotel toilet, which now is promoted from the, excuse my language, down to up. And then you clean it, you clean your child's mouth with it, just a toilet roll. It's a roll, it's a tissue. In China now, when you go, all the hotels have two rolls next to each other above certain level. You go to a hotel, next time you look at your own bathroom and see how much of the diseases the friend who came, the cleaner who came, went to toilet, can I use bathroom? The driver from the delivery man, can I use bathroom? You had all their bits in your mouth and in your body. You rub it on. Test done, research done by one of the leading universities. You find it on the internet. They allowed one person to use a toilet for given time. From the toothbrush in the toilet, because it was a toilet in a bathroom. From the towel, from the packets of deodorants and everything else, they wiped, they tested. They could find what the person has eaten during that month. The flushing you do in your toilet evaporates a lot of your excrement into a very high dust odor. That's why you can smell it in the other room. The guy's been into the toilet and sits on in your bathroom. This is why in a lot of Western things, toilet is separated from the bathrooms. In a way, you eat your own excrement when you brush your tooth. Is excrement toothbrush and toothpaste, not the toothpaste you put on, addition. These are the things, the facts we have by research. And whatever you put out, whatever you put in, you take. Trying to be westernized, trying to be modernized has created a lot of problem for us that we have become ignorant to it. You go to a hotel room, most of some of you are in it now. Just walk into the bathroom and see where does your toilet roll next one stands. That toilet, and then you just, excuse me, did your job in the pot next to, carries the guys from the room, the guy who was there last night before you, and then you pick it up and you use it. The rule has to change. I've told the EU members of the parliament, pass a rule, move this, you solve a lot of diseases. No toilet roll which is going to be used next should be below the other one. So the other thing is, a lot of you don't do the most dirtiest things in the house, anywhere in the world, which carries all the diseases, is a toilet brush. The handle of the toilet brush. Just think logically. You go to a hotel room, there's a toilet brush. After you've done your job, you use a brush. The guy who used the brush, who used it for whatever purpose, touched the back, the front, and every excrement or whatever, didn't go outside to wash his hand and then come and use the brush. His hand already transferred everything on the brush. So next time you go into a hotel room, you want to touch that brush holder, get the tissue paper, not from the roll, and hold it, or hold it with the tissue, and then put it down and throw the tissue away, because you help yourself with a lot of diseases to come in the future. little things can save a lot of problem, because that things can affect your emotion. And we don't look at these things. We become so westernized that it's the West, we do it, that yes, but understand next time to remember, when you go in the hotel room, in your own house, look where your next toilet roll is sitting. It should be in a box, packed away, that next time you use it is a fresh, not collection of all the people who use the toilet before you, with the spraying it, with the odor of it and everything else. Then you change your emotion. You change your, stop using perfumes and these kind of things, and then see how it changes your mind. Read on the label. Something starts with F, with all the smells, what carries in that smell. How did they added it? Natural oils like rose or lavender or whatever, mixture of it, you make it yourself, or you find places who give it to you, yes. But again, all the odors are connected to the H bond, which affects the emotion, and then it has diseases with it. And it's part of the same process. You change your perfumes, or what you use as a perfume, or deodorant, or whatever, and watch how your emotion and your cycle, your food, even with the women, see how it changes your menstruation, how much pain goes. You couldn't have children, now how you have children. I listen, I research, do a lot of work, and it comes continuously. We become too westernized to be so spotless. We're killing ourselves with this spotless. We become too sporty, we wear these fancy clothes, we absorb. You got to understand, if you have children, watch them, give them water, and then give them Coca-Cola, and then give them another sweet, and then give them sweet with added coloring with it. And watch the behavior of your child for next 3 hours. How all the coloring which are carbon manufactured, added, make children hyperactive and affects their behavior. 99% of the children are to do it because it's extra energy seed put in. Now, if you have that additive in the drink, does it, you add that to your clothing, you go for a sports, it creates you all sorts of diseases and emotion because of it. Oh, I went for a run, it was so good when I go for a run. Yes, I'm putting in emotion, cancer and everything else inside me with it. Fantastic. Marathon run to die. Do it more. Understand what new technology brings. Understand how we have integrated these things and we made it fashionable. Then go and buy your bio potatoes and bio the rest, because it's mayo in a way, mine for the coffin. Understand, even with the ganses, how you produce ganses, how you apply your ganses, the way you apply ganses, because it's there for a purpose. When it's needed, it's there to be used in the correct way to be done. God said, I made man in the image of myself. God is not stupid, so man should not. Thank you very much for today. And hopefully we'll see each other next time. And I'm sure we'll see many of you tomorrow. But still, if you want to make any booking for tomorrow's session, do it. We got used to it. Many of you come late booking. And the test of time for feeding you and the rest is there. And when if you join the, what do you call, this group for next 3 months, try to get ganses from the Keshe Foundation with the materials in it, that you can literally taste the process and things in a different way. Thank you very much, and see you next time.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for yet another wonderful workshop here, number 565 in a long series, and hope to continue into the future. Thank you for your presence on the planet and all the work you do in the background. And thank you everybody for being here and being part of the process of this amazing changes that are going on our planet now. Okay, I think that wraps it up. Our next public teaching workshop will be coming up Tuesday on November 26th, starting at 4 p.m. Central European Time. Will be the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace, with members of the Universal Council and support members. And people of the public are invited to take in that workshop. Okay, I think that's it. Again, thank you, Mr. Keshe. And that completes our workshop for today. And we'll go out with our flight unit. And bye, everyone. See you in the next public teaching workshop.